Hey Algebra 2, hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. If you saw my weekly email this week and that's how you got this link, then you probably saw that my wife gave me a haircut. I hope you guys like it. If you want, feel free to comment on the YouTube video. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know how the haircut turned out. That was our date night on Friday. I was cutting my hair with some kitchen shears and a beard trimmer. So it turned out pretty good if you ask me. I know that looking in the mirror, I think it looks great. And on top of it, I'm thanking myself because it's getting warmer outside and my hair needed to go. So I hope you guys are staying safe out there. We're back down to our maybe 2-3 more weeks of lessons tops, probably 2. Okay, and one of them is this right here. Multiplying rationals and dividing rationals. Okay, it's gonna be a longer video. Pause it, take notes, do what you need to do as we do this. Multiplying rationals. Simpling thing, like we simplified rationals last week, which was just factoring, canceling stuff out. So we had to add something in here where we make it one giant fraction, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with that in a second. So factor, make it a giant fraction, cancel. Nothing too crazy. When we get into dividing rationals, you're probably gonna have to rewrite it. You're gonna have to flip that second equation and then repeat your multiplying process. Factor, make it a fraction, and cancel from there. You'll see it. We're gonna work through 3 examples, 2 multiplying, 1 dividing. Like always, there'll be a worksheet and a quiz with the week. Thank you to everyone that's putting in that hard work with those. I really appreciate it. And I get the emails as you guys finish stuff up. So keep it up if you're doing that. I really appreciate it. Anyways, here's our first equation. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 3 divided by x squared minus 4x minus 5 times 5x squared plus 25x all over 3x plus 9. All right, so the first thing we need to do when multiplying is we got to factor. So we're going to do that. We're going to factor each of these. I'm going to factor this one in blue. Okay, so this factors into x plus 1 and x plus 3. All right, I'm not going to really go over the steps of factoring. We've done that before. This one down here is going to be in red. So on the bottom of that, we're looking at x minus 5 times x plus 1. Okay, cool. I'm going to do this top one in green. I'm going to factor that. This is just greatest common factor. So they have a 5x in common. So I take out the 5x, and that leaves me with x plus 5. Okay, and then the last one, I'm out of colors, so black it is. Last one's going to be in black, and that factors into 3 times x plus 3. So there's all your factors. Blue, red, green, black. Factored them. So I factored everything out. That's great. Now, the cool thing is about multiplication, because you multiply straight across, I can just make this one giant fraction bar. That's what I'm talking about in step 2. Make it one giant fraction bar. Now I can cancel what's on top and what's on bottom. So I look at this, x plus 3 and x plus 3, those cancel. X plus 1 and x plus 1, would you look at that? Those cancel. Okay? A lot of people were making this mistake last week, which is why I included this on the video. This is x minus 5 and this is x plus 5. Those are 2 different things. You cannot cancel an x minus 5 and an x plus 5. Those go together. Okay? Those go together. So these are grouped together. They're stuck together. You can't cancel them out. Okay, so on the top, I'm left with just this, 5x times x plus 5. And on the bottom, I'm left with a 3 and an x minus 5. You can leave it just like that. No need to multiply it out if you don't want to. But we should be good to go there. So there's example number 1. Remember, cannot cancel those opposites. I saw that a lot last week. All right. Okay, so here's example number 2. 2x cubed plus 4x squared times 2x all over x squared plus 3x times x squared minus 4. Okay, so we're going to get back to the factoring. Once again, that one's going to be in blue. I'm going to take out a 2x squared. That leaves me with an x plus 2. Okay? On the bottom here, I'll do that one in red. That I factor out an x, which leaves me with x plus 3. On the top, you might notice I can't factor that, so that's going to stay the same. That's still just going to be a 2x. Okay? And on the bottom, I'll factor that last one in green. Wow, I got a lot of markers going on there. Factor that one in green, and this is a difference of squares. We've talked about difference of squares before because that's a perfect square and that's a perfect square. So this factors into x plus 2 and x minus 2. Once again, this is awesome. I can draw a giant bar like that. Now, you might notice, hey, I have x plus 2 and x plus 2, those cancel. You also might notice I have this x and this x here. I can cancel those. Okay, and then 2 times 2, I am going to do that multiplication because that's very easy. So my final answer on top is going to be 2 times 2 is 4. I have an x squared. On bottom, I have x plus 3 times x minus 2. And if we were in building, I might make you multiply that out, but for the sake of us, let's keep it nice and simple. No need to multiply, that's a perfectly fine answer. Okay, we're gonna cut just for a second and I will write up our division problem and we'll get back to it. All right, so we're back and we have our last example, which is the dividing. So the dividing one, you have to rewrite it as needed. If it's already written in a side-by-side type of form, you don't need to necessarily do step 1. 2, flip that second equation. 3, factor, make it a giant fraction, and cancel. So here's our equation, and they'll look like this. Man, it's a lot of fraction bars going on. So I got x squared plus 2x minus 15 divided by x squared minus 4x minus 45. This whole thing divided by this whole thing, which is x squared plus x minus 12 and x squared minus 5x minus 36. So this divided by that. So the first thing I'm going to do is step 1, which is rewriting this into a side-by-side manner. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite as x squared plus 2x minus 15 all over x squared minus 4x minus 45 divided by x squared plus x minus 12 all over x squared minus 5x minus 36. Woo, that's a lot. Okay, once I have it over here and it's in my side-by-side, I need to take this and I need to flip this. Boom, I need to flip it upside down. Okay, and the reason you do that, maybe if you multiplied fractions before, we call it the reciprocal. I like to call it the refliprical because you end up flipping the second fraction, right? So I need to flip and multiply, flip and multiply. You need to flip and multiply. You need to flip and multiply, okay? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna flip and then we can multiply from there. This equation doesn't change. You might be like lacrossing, I'm gonna get a mild hand cramp with all these steps. You will on the first 2 examples. After that, this gets much quicker and a lot of you will go straight from this first step to a flipped multiply type situation. So you'll save some steps in between here. So I'm gonna flip and then this turns into multiplication. So I flip and now I have the x squared minus 5x minus 36. So this guy goes on top. And then this guy's gonna go down below. So I go x squared plus x minus 12. Woo! So we just made this division problem into a multiplication problem. And at this point, if you got this far in the video, you've watched at least 2 multiplication problems. Unless you really got tired, I mean, just skip to the division one, in which case, go back and watch the multiplication problems. All right, so I'm gonna factor these. This one will be in blue. So negative 15 to add to 2, that's going to be negative 5 positive 3, or sorry, positive 5 negative 3 I should say, x plus 5 times x minus 3. I'll do this guy in red. Negative 36 to negative 5, well, that's going to be x minus 9, negative 9, and x plus 4, because negative 9 and 4 make my negative 5. All right, and then I got to do my green, which will be this one on the bottom left. That'll be in green here, so that is x squared minus 9, not x squared, just x minus 9 and x plus 5. And then the last one, like always, here, I'm running out of colors. Last color I have is black, so we'll vector this one in black. So I have, well, x plus 4 and x minus 3. All right, and that's a huge fraction bar now. So now it's just like any of the multiplying problems. We factor, we make a huge fraction bar, and we cancel. Now you're probably like sitting there at home so excited because you're like, I see the cancellations, I see the cancellations. Now you know how I feel, okay? Being a math teacher, you just get all riled up for things like that, okay? So I have x plus 5 and x plus 5, they cancel. X minus 3 and x minus 3, they cancel. X plus 4 and x plus 4, they cancel. And x minus 9 and x minus 9 cancel. When everything cancels like that, your final answer is 1. If they don't all cancel, then just whatever you have left on top and whatever how you have left on the bottom is your final answer. Okay, so I went over not only the process of doing it, so just follow your process, but I also went over some examples where everything cancels, as well as when you just have like X's that cancel and stuff. So hopefully that gives you a wide range of how to do this. There's a worksheet attached. Quiz will be posted on Thursday. Still working on trying to get through all the emails. You guys sent me a ton of emails, and hope you all are staying safe and had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Miss you guys lots. Hopefully I see you the soonest I can see you, which would probably be mid next year, or whatever the heck is going on. I don't know. But I hope you guys are staying safe. I miss you guys a ton. Have a good one. Later, Sparks.